Oh, hello. My name is Maud Hart Lovelace, writer and author. This is a new fishing pole from your time that I'm looking at. It's quite fancy. I'd like to use it to tell a story in just a little bit. And I'm also going to need this. Can you see what this is? Yes, a very old and sharp scissors. We'll need both of those things. Well, the true story that I would like to tell you is about me and my two best friends when we were 8 years old. Now, if you're 8, could you just wave one hand? Oh, there you are. Hello. If you're a different age than 8, why don't you wave 2 hands? There we go. Hello to you too. It's good to be together, isn't it? Well, my story takes place in the year 1900, a long time ago. Could you remind me what year you're in now, please? Oh, that's right. Thank you. 2020. I bet someone out there can figure out how many years ago 1900 was. Could you? Yes, you're right. 120 years ago. A very long time. Did you know that stories from a long time ago can help us during hard times? It's true. It's very true. And I heard that you are going through some very hard times right now, that you are having to stay safe at home from something called the coronavirus. Is that right? Yes, you're not able to play with your friends like you're used to and not able to do a lot of different things. It's hard, isn't it? It's very hard. Well, maybe this story will help just a tiny little bit. Well, when we were 8, our good friend Bick became very, very sick with a serious disease called diphtheria. This was a disease that went right to your throat, and you could barely breathe. It was hard, and people would die from this disease, and there was no medicine to cure you at all. There was no medicine for Bick. So what they had to do was to be quarantined, and they had to go into their house, the whole family, and no one could leave, and no one could come to them. Do you know what that word quarantine means? Have you heard of it? I bet you have, because you right now are quarantined also, staying safe in your homes, aren't you? Well, even though your quarantine is a little bit different than Bick's, it's still hard, isn't it? Yes. Well, we lived in a small Minnesota town called Mankato and lived on the big hill. I'd like to show you the map. Here's a drawing. Can you see this? This is by Lois Lenski, an illustrator for a few of my books. Here's the big hill. And this is where the 3 of us played all the time. We hiked and we explored and we climbed trees and we made hideouts and had picnics. And this is where I lived, right here in the yellow house, and across the dirt road in this house, the white one, that was Bick's house. And then down the dirt road, around the corner, lived Midge. Her house was the color of chocolate. We did everything together. We were inseparable. And that's why it was so hard when we couldn't be together when Bick was sick. It's hard not to be with your friends, isn't it? Well, she had to be in her bed for weeks and weeks. And we knew that she could hardly breathe. That's scary, isn't it? Very scary. We thought, we need something so she knows that we're thinking of her. Maybe something to cheer her up. What could we do? And then, what would you do? That's exactly what we did. we made surprises for her. Every day we sent something. And you know how we did it? Since we couldn't even put our toe into her yard? You are right. This is when we brought out the fishing pole. I went to the shed and got the fishing pole, and we put a pouch right on the end. And then we could put our little surprises in here and cast them right onto Big's front porch. And her sister could come and get them. What would you put in here? That's some of the same things we did. We made little books and stories and put in the pouch. We had a piece of cake we put in there. And then we also picked flowers from the big hill. And my favorite little surprise was, see if you can guess, 2 eyes, 4 legs, and carries its house on its back. Right. A teeny tiny turtle that we put in our padded pouch and sent over. We hoped these little presents and surprises cheered her up. Then one day we looked across the street in the window, and there was Big's face. She waved to us. She was alive, and she was getting better. Then the health inspector came, and then the doctor came, and the doctor said, "Big, the quarantine is over. You can go out and play. You're well." This was the best day ever. I bet you can guess where the 3 of us went first of all. You're right. We went straight to the big hill and did all the things that we were so missing. And then I stopped and I said, "Wait, we almost lost Big, and any one of us could get sick. We don't have anything to remember each other by. We need to make something so we always have something to remember each other." But what could it be? And then I remembered my grandma. My grandma has a locket around her neck with a little bit of my grandpa's hair in it. And she always remembers my grandpa, and it's right by her heart. I said, "Why don't we make lockets?" And Midge said, "It's a good idea, but we don't have any metal." I wonder if we could use something else. And then I thought of the small paper cardboard pill boxes that medicine came in during my time. We could use that and poke a hole and string it up and, well, cut off just a teeny tiny bit of our hair and put inside. That is what we decided to do. We ran home and got the things we needed, and I, of course, asked my mother if we could, the scissors. And my mother said, "Well, whatever do you need those scissors for?" And I told her about the lockets, and she said, "Certainly." I didn't tell her about the hair cutting. And then she said, "Now, Maud, when you take the scissors, please don't run, but you know what I'm going to say, and always carry the point down." Right. I guess mothers are the same, no matter what century they're in. Well, we were very excited to get little snippets of hair, and we wanted to get plenty. Now, I was just about to cut Big's hair. Did I tell you about Big's hair? Well, she had the most beautiful, long, red curls, shiny. If you can imagine sausages around your head, she had 10 beautiful, long curls. Well, I took 5 of them, and I snipped them off. Yes, and then I passed the scissors to Big. Now, Big looked at Midge's hair, yellow and curly, and she snipped off half of her curls. That was enough. And then she passed those scissors on to Midge. And Midge looked at my 2 brown braids and snipped one of them off. Well, we mixed up the hair, and we shoved red and yellow and brown hair into our paper pill boxes, and we took the scissors and made a hole at the top and then put the string through and tied it around our necks, and we had the most wonderful lockets with our hair inside, right by our hearts, something to always remember each other. We were very proud of them. Have you ever cut your hair or someone else's without your parents' permission? Do you think we got into trouble? Oh, did we ever? It didn't take long until our mothers were storming up the hill and my mother was shrieking, "Your hair! What happened?" Well, I had to explain and tell her all about our lockets and how Bick was sick and we almost lost her and we needed something to remember each other because any one of us could get sick. And then my mother covered her face and she shook her head. And when her face came up, I thought she was crying, but she was laughing. She was laughing so hard because we looked lopsided and absolutely ridiculous. Well, Midge's mother wasn't laughing. Midge's mother took the scissors and she fixed up our hair and cut it all even, very, very short. I think that might be happening in your house, right? Your house hair is getting fixed up now and then. Well, she said it's a good thing it's summertime because your hair is very, very short. And she started laughing too. But Bick's mother, no. She picked up very quietly all of her red curls and saved them. After all, it was her first day out of quarantine. We never forgot that day. Would you? Well, many years later, I was all grown up and I became a mother myself, and my daughter Marion begged to hear the stories of my growing up years with my two best friends, Bick and Midge. She especially liked to hear that quarantine haircutting story. And then I thought, well, I could make these stories into books. And that's exactly what I did. I changed my name to Betsy and Bick's name to Tacy and Midge's name to Tib. And our town, Mankato, became Deep Valley. And you can read about our adventures growing up together in Deep Valley on the Big Hill in the 13 Betsy Tacy books. They're in your library and in your bookstores, and you can even read them in a fancy way that you do today in digital copies or something like that. Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? Well, I hope this story helped just a little bit. Thank you for listening to my story and for our time together. And during your coronavirus quarantine, please stay as safe as you can and tell and read stories. It does help. And if you do need to cut hair, make sure you have your parents' permission. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye now.